Well, welcome everyone, and it's the final week of the 2015 regular season here, and we're going to predict who wins and who loses in RockSoldier72 predicts the NFL. Make sure you guys to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for plenty more prediction videos. I'll be doing playoffs and predicting who's going to the Super Bowl and who's winning these games and getting there and reaching the destination that each team wanted from the beginning of the season. Now, let's get quick little recap of what happened last week in the NFL. So, the Chargers lost to the Oakland Raiders as Charles Woodson and the Raiders did pull off a close victory in overtime. 23-20, Charles Woodson's last game as Oakland Raider at home. Congrats to Charles Woodson. Next up, we had the Redskins and the Eagles. Since the Redskins won this game, that means the Eagles, the Giants, and the Dallas Cowboys won't be getting a chance in the playoffs. Fortunately, yes. My Giants not going to playoffs this year, and it's going to be a bumpy road in the offseason, I'll tell you that, because there's going to be some changes in the staff and the whole organization. So we'll find out later this year. This new year. Oh yeah, Happy New Year, guys. 2016 is now here. But yeah, it's going to be a bumpy road for the New York Giants as they're going to be making some changes this offseason. Yeah, so the Redskins won. Eagles. Chip Kelly got fired too, which might be some good news for Eagles fans or bad news, but I'm thinking it's mostly good news for Eagles fans. But Chip Kelly did get fired, so how about that? And yes, the Redskins are now going to playoffs. Hopefully they lose next week. I don't want them to win whatsoever, because I just hate the Redskins. They're in the East. I don't want anybody going in the playoffs in the East to win besides the Giants. Next up, we got the Colts and the Miami Dolphins. And the Colts pull off a victory 18-12 against the Miami Dolphins. Next up, we got the Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs started out the season 1-5, but Andy Reid and the team has just been winning and winning each game after another. And they're going to the playoffs. Kansas City Chiefs pull victory over the Cleveland Browns. 17-13 is the final score. Next up, we got a meaningless game here. 16-6. Bills pulled a victory against the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, those Cowboys, I don't know what they're going to be doing this offseason. But next up, we got the Detroit Lions, and they pulled off another victory against the San Francisco 49ers. Lions have been playing on fire after they started the season like 0-7, I thought. I don't know. Maybe, I forget. But the Lions have been pulling themselves together, and they're looking like a good team, and they have some potential next year. Lions pull victory over the San Francisco 49ers 32-17. And the Steelers lost to the Ravens last week, and now they might not have a shot at going to the playoffs this week. I'll be telling you more about that once we get into this week's picks. But, yes, the Ravens did pull victory against a rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ravens win 2017 final score. And the Rams, 2 times this year, beat the Seattle Seahawks 23-17. And the Rams, you know, they just always beating the Seattle Seahawks. How about that? Always pulling an upset. And man, I don't know. They just got a good defense, I'll tell you that. Next game, it was, I just couldn't watch it. 49-17, Vikings pretty much, like, destroyed the New York Giants. 49-17. Eli threw like 3 interceptions. We need Odell. That's it. Our offense is not clicking if we don't have Odell. And fortunately, we didn't have him last week, and you saw the results. Odell didn't play, then the team doesn't come out to play, as you saw, 49-17. But Robert Ayers has been playing pretty good on our defense. That's a bright side. And he's going to be a free agent offseason, so hopefully we re-sign him. And yeah, Adrian Peterson and the Minnesota Vikings pulling a victory. And now they can clinch the division with a win this week against the Packers. Next up, we got the Bears and the Buccaneers. 26-21. Thought Jameis Winston will win, but now unfortunately the Bears won. And none of them teams are going to playoffs either. Next up, we got the Jets and the Patriots. And the Jets, as I said, will pull upset in overtime. There's like some confusion in the coin toss in overtime. And yes, Bill Belichick did want to defer. I don't know why, but yeah, Jets pulled a victory. That's what happens when Bill Belichick makes dumb decisions. And yes, the Panthers finally lost, not undefeated anymore. the Falcons. Julio Jones having a monstrous game. 2013 is the final score. And how about them Falcons? They're not going to, or they could go to playoffs. Yeah, I forgot. They're in the hunt. You never know what could happen. So you never know. Julio Jones could lead this team to another victory this week. Maybe get them to the playoffs. Maybe, we'll see. Next up, Texans and Titans. And the Texans just playing great this season. After not starting off so well, they've just been playing great. And they're in first place in the division. And the Colts pretty much have a 0.1% chance that they're going to go to the playoffs. So, I don't know. Jaguars and Saints, I thought the Jags would win. But Drew Brees and the Saints won 38-27. And next up, we got the Cardinals and the Packers. Cardinals pretty much destroyed the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers throwing fumbles, interceptions, the whole game. The Packers didn't come to play that game, as the Packers lost to the Cardinals 38-8 is the final score. Now, it's going to be a different way of me showing my picks for this week, so let's get started. Here we go. We got the Jaguars and the Texans at 1 o'clock today, Sunday, January 3rd. And I feel like the Texans are going to pull a victory against the Jaguars because they've just been playing great. Their defense has been on fire. Even though they've been switching with plenty of quarterbacks, I feel like the Texans are going to win. Next up, we got a game that the Bills beat the Jets. Jets are not going to the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. So, I feel like the Bills are going to pull a victory over the Jets because Rex Ryan beat him before the season. He's going to do it again because you know he wants to, right? Alright, next game, we got the Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts, and I feel like the Colts are going to win. Even though they have barely a shot at making the playoffs, I feel like the Colts are still going to win. Redskins, Cowboys. Redskins are already going to the playoffs. That game's meaningless. They might want to rest their starters that game, but I still feel like the Redskins are going to win because the Cowboys team's pretty much, horrible. Tony Romo's out, Des Bryant's out, all these players, they don't have anybody good. Redskins are going to win. Lions and Bears, I feel like the Lions are going to win because they've just been playing really good after they didn't start out well. They've just been playing really good at the end of the season, so Lions. Next up, we got the Rams versus the San Francisco 49ers. I feel like the Rams are going to win because they've just been playing great on defense, as you saw last game against Seattle. Alright, next up we got the Raiders and the Chiefs. I feel like Kansas City's going. They just been playing hot lately. So yeah, Chiefs all day. Next up we have the Seahawks versus the Arizona Cardinals. I feel like the Arizona Cardinals are going to win because they just have been playing better lately. They just really have. And I feel like the Cardinals are going to win again. And next up we got the Steelers versus the Browns. And I feel like the Steelers are going to the playoffs this year, ladies and gentlemen. And since the Browns don't have Johnny Manziel and he has a concussion, all that nonsense, I feel like the Steelers are going to win. Patriots and Dolphins. Patriots all day. The Dolphins just haven't been playing great at all this season. Next up, we got the Ravens and the Bengals. And I feel like the Bengals, A.J. McCarron, is going to lead into a victory. Even though they lost last week to the Denver Broncos, I still feel that, the Bengals are a playoff team. And they could clinch that first round bye, so I feel like Bengals all day. Saints Falcons, I feel like Julio Jones and the Falcons will beat the Saints this week. So yeah. Next up, we got a divisional rival game, even though it's meaningless. The Giants versus the Philadelphia Eagles at Giants Stadium. I feel like the Giants are gonna pull a victory because Chip Kelly got fired this week, and even though some of our players might be hurt, I still feel like we have a shot. And even though if we do lose this game, we still get a good draft pick and all that. So I feel like the Giants are still going to win, though, because their team, I feel like, is just better. And it doesn't matter what happens because it's good and bad. And Tom Coughlin, this could be his last game, so hopefully the Giants finish strong with Tom Coughlin under their belt. Next up, we got the Bucks and the Panthers. I feel like the Panthers are going to win. Even though they lost last week, I feel like the Panthers are going to win. Next up, we got the Chargers and the Broncos. I feel like the Broncos are going to win. Even though Phillip Rivers has a nice arm, I feel like the Broncos are going to win. Next up, we got the Vikings and the Packers. I feel like Vikings. So those are my picks for this week. Thank you guys for tuning in. And RockSoldier72 signing off.